Have you ever heard a story so wild, so unbelievable, that you were sure it was fake? Well, get ready, because today we're diving into 10 real stories that sound completely made up, but every single one is absolutely true. Let's start with a story that defies all odds. Meet Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a Japanese engineer who was in Hiroshima on a business trip in August 1945. He was just under 2 miles from ground zero when the first atomic bomb was dropped. He survived, with ruptured eardrums and severe burns. He then made his way back home, to Nagasaki. Just 3 days later, he was at his office, telling his boss about the blast in Hiroshima, when the second atomic bomb detonated. Incredibly, he survived that one too. He lived to the age of 93, becoming a powerful advocate for a nuclear disarmament. 1 man, 2 atomic bombs. The odds are astronomical. From human survival to a terrifying natural phenomenon. Deep in Africa, in Cameroon and on the border of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, lie 3 seemingly peaceful lakes, Nyos, Malnoun, and Kivu. But these are no ordinary lakes. They're exploding lakes. Underneath them, volcanic activity releases carbon dioxide, which gets trapped in the deep, cold water. This gas builds up for decades, even centuries, until a trigger like a landslide or an earthquake causes a sudden, catastrophic release. In 1986, Lake Nyos erupted, releasing a massive cloud of CO2 that silently swept through nearby villages, suffocating over 1,700 people and thousands of livestock in their sleep. It's a silent, invisible killer, a real-life boogeyman story. Now imagine a town on fire, not for a day, or a week, but for 60 years and counting. Welcome to Centralia, Pennsylvania. In 1962, a routine fire set in a landfill ignited an exposed seam of anthracite coal in an abandoned mine beneath the town. The fire spread through the vast network of mine tunnels, and it has been burning ever since. For years, most residents didn't even realize the scale of the problem. But soon, the ground started to collapse. Steam and toxic gases vented from cracks in the earth, and the roads buckled. The town was eventually abandoned, but the fire still rages underground. It's a real-life Silent Hill, a ghost town with a fiery secret just beneath the surface. Let's move from a burning town to a family completely isolated from the world. In 1978, Soviet geologists flying over the Siberian taiga spotted something impossible. A small, cultivated patch of land, miles from any known settlement. They investigated and found the like of family. A father, a mother, and their 4 children had fled religious persecution in 1936 and lived in total isolation for 42 years. They had no contact with other humans. They were unaware of World War II, the moon landing, or even that electricity was common. They survived on what they could grow and hunt, speaking a dialect heavily influenced by Old Russian. Their discovery was a stunning window into a life untouched by modern history. Next up is a medical mystery that baffled doctors. In 1984, a man collapsed outside a Burger King in Florida and was rushed to the hospital. When he woke up, he was speaking a language no one could understand. It wasn't Spanish or any known European or Asian language. He called himself Benjamin, but signed his name as Kyle. He seemed to have amnesia, but spoke this fluent, yet non-existent language. Linguists were stumped. Was it a made-up language, a forgotten dialect, or something else entirely? Years later, it was discovered he was from Indiana and had experienced a rare fugue state. His foreign language was a complex mix of his own invention and perhaps distorted memories of languages he'd heard. Here's one for lovers of maritime mysteries. In 1930, the SS Beichimo, a fur trading ship, became trapped in Arctic ice. The crew abandoned the vessel, assuming it would sink. But it didn't. For the next 38 years, the Beichimo was repeatedly sighted, drifting aimlessly through the Arctic waters. It became a legendary ghost ship. People would spot it, try to board it, but it always managed to escape, disappearing back into the fog or ice floes. The last confirmed sighting was in 1969. Where is it now? No one knows. It may have finally sunk, or it could still be out there, a phantom ship sailing the Arctic seas. Sometimes, the most incredible stories are hidden inside us, literally. An American woman named Marian Clayton lived a normal life until she started experiencing headaches. Doctors couldn't find the cause. Decades passed. Then, at the age of 57, a new scan revealed something shocking. A .22 caliber bullet lodged in her head, near her ear. It turned out that 30 years earlier, her ex-boyfriend had shot her during an argument. At the time, doctors thought it was a minor wound and missed the bullet entirely. She had lived for 3 decades with a bullet in her head and had no memory of the event that put it there. How about surviving a fall from the sky? In 1972, Serbian flight attendant Vesna Vulovic was on jet flight 367. The plane broke apart at 33,333 feet. That's over 6 miles high. Vesna was trapped in a section of the fuselage which, along with a food cart and the body of another crew member, crashed into a snowy, wooded mountainside. Miraculously, she survived. She suffered a fractured skull, 2 broken legs, and was temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. But she eventually made a full recovery and even wanted to fly again. She holds the Guinness World Record for the highest fall survived without a parachute. Next, a linguistic puzzle. In 1974, twin girls from San Diego, Grace and Virginia Kennedy, were brought to a speech therapist. They were 6 years old but couldn't speak English instead. They communicated with each other in a rapid-fire, complex language that no one else could understand. It was their own private language. A phenomenon known as cryptophagia, or twin talk. It was so developed that it had its own grammar and structure. It took years of therapy for them to learn English and integrate with the outside world. But their unique bond had created an entire language that existed only between the two of them. Finally, a message from the past frozen in time. In 2013, a mountain climber in the Italian Alps discovered something melting out of a glacier. It was the wreckage of an Indian Air Force plane that had crashed in 1968. But that wasn't the most amazing part. Nearby, he found a box containing undeveloped rolls of film. It was the personal camera of one of the passengers. A photo lab managed to develop the film after it had been frozen for nearly 50 years. The images were perfectly preserved, showing stunning shots of the passengers' life in India, their family, and their journey just before the tragic flight. It was a time capsule, a ghost from the past delivered by a melting glacier. And there you have it. 10 stories that prove reality is often stranger, more terrifying, and more wonderful than anything we could ever make up. Which one blew your mind the most? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible true stories. See you next time.